The Brian Burns situation is not that, right? It's not like, oh, we made a mistake 2 years ago and now we are stuck with it. It's like, no, you've made the mistake like 7, 8 times. You keep making the mistake, right? You keep re-entering into Mistakeville. The Bears and Niners, according to ESPN, both expressed interest in trading for Brian Burns this year. The Jags, the Falcons, the Ravens also reached out to the Panthers about Burns, according to ESPN sources. That's 5 teams that they know about. Jags, Falcons, Ravens, Bears, Niners. ESPN knows about it. Now imagine all of the covert calls that were made, right? Hey, we're calling about Dante Jackson, but what about Brian Burns? We weren't calling about Brian Burns, but is anyone with the initials BB available in trade? Like, bark twice if you're in Milwaukee. Let's speak in code, all right? We're interested in Brian Burns. Instead of looking at 5 interested parties and saying, we've got a bidding war on our hand for a guy who we can't agree on a long-term contract with, instead of saying we have a bidding war, we can play the Ravens against the Niners. We can play the Bears against the Falcons. We can get them all into a frenzy. They said, I'd like to thank you all for coming to this bidding war. We have nothing to sell. We have nothing that we're looking to move. They turned them all down. And now you have no leverage in the negotiations with Brian Burns, and you've already not been able to come up with a long-term deal. They turned down multiple first-round picks plus from the Rams last year. That's what the reports were.
2 firsts and a third, I believe.
Call it 2 firsts plus. Now they've negated or didn't find a common ground with at least 5 interested teams at the deadline. That puts you between a rock and a hard place. Why? Because if you don't sign him to a long-term deal, you wasted all of that, right? Oh, we'll sign him to a tag. We'll tag him, franchise tag him, and then trade him. You're not getting as much for a player on a franchise tag as you would for somebody when you traded him, if you traded him last offseason, meaning 2 firsts plus from the Rams. Now, also, if you don't sign him to a long-term deal, you've wasted all of that. But also, his agents know that. His agents are going, do you know how much they value this guy? Mm-hmm. They value him so much. They value him more than 2 first-round picks plus. They value him more than anything those 5 teams were willing to offer him. They value him more than future assets for their team. Why would we settle for anything close to market value? Let's get way over market value, right? Because chances are one of those five teams was willing to pay fair market value, right? They couldn't all just be lowballing the heck out of you. And if you turn down fair market value, you value him more. They're going to be asking for the moon and the stars, and Carolina has no choice but to live with it. Because if they don't make it happen, it is a massive misappropriation of funds. You've backed yourself so far into a corner that now you are going to have to overpay Brian Burns. And I understand the name of the game when it comes to roster management in any sport with a cap is never overpay. And you've given yourself no option but to overpay or walk away. The other option is you walk away from Brian Burns, right? You trade him for less, you let him walk for free, and then you just walk away with a big old dunce cap on your head. Mm-hmm. Right? Then you just get laughed at the next owners meeting. You have to sit and eat lunch by yourself like Steven Glansberg in Superbad. Very specific reference there. I hope some of you got it. 5 teams were at least willing to those 5 teams gave you a shot at a get-out-of-jail-free card. You would have had to play it right? You would have had to be a wheeler and a dealer. You would have had to play them against each other. You would have had to very, very carefully reveal certain points of information to each of them. You would have had to do the whole, Get him on the phone. Hang up with him. Get him on the phone. Talk to him. Hang up with him. Can I get so-and-so? You would have had to do the draft day thing, the Moneyball thing, whatever your movie of choice is to get the most out of it, but you had the get out of jail free card, and you botched it. So let's look at all the different ways they've messed this up. Brian Burns, after his third year in the league, you should have given him a long-term extension. That would have been before he ever had double-digit sacks in the NFL. That would have been before the market for edge rushers has shot through the roof based on the Bosa contract and this contract and the Sweat contract that just happened and the Rashawn Gary contract that just happened. Would have been before all of that. Would have been before Brian Burns knew what the value was. But you didn't do it then. Fine. You move on. You get trade contract or trade offers, right? He plays again. He plays better. Now he has double-digit sacks. Now you get a trade offer. You turn it down. Now you get a trade offer. You turn it down. Now you go into an off season where, of course, you have to sign him to a long-term extension. You can't. He doesn't even properly hold out. He doesn't even properly hold in. He does like the I have too much respect for this franchise thing, and he just kind of quietly makes a stink while practicing for the most part, which is just going to endear him to fans even more. So now you're losing the PR battle with your own fans. So you go into the season without a long-term deal. By the way, along the way while all that was happening, you gave up this year's first-round pick, so you don't have one, despite the fact that you need one, and Brian Burns could be the get-out-of-jail-free card to get you a first-round pick back.
Question for you on this, though.
Can I just say the last thing they messed up on?
Yep.
Then you get to the trade deadline, and 5 teams call with a life raft and say, we're interested in Brian Burns, and you turn them all down. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, this franchise, its top 3 players over the last 3 seasons have been DJ Moore, Christian McCaffrey, and Brian Burns.
Yes.
You say you're going to trade all 3 of those guys away. What do you get out of it? Because you already trade 2 of your top offensive players away. You're going to trade your other superstar who plays a premium position?
Okay, this is where it becomes a mistake, what I was describing earlier. You already made the mistake.
Yeah.
The way to keep him is to sign him to a long-term extension 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Now you didn't make that mistake, so your options are overpay and keep him or trade him. Those are your only 2 options. It's very obvious he's not taking a hometown discount.
For sure.
So your only 2 options are overpay for him or trade him. If there was a third option of keep him on a market value contract, that's the one I'm choosing every single time.
Yeah.
I think you know how high. Like, I think he's a very, very good edge rusher.
Absolutely.
I don't think he's top 4 or 5 in the league.
No.
But he's in that whatever that next tier is, however many 10, 15 is in that next tier. I don't like overpaying players. I refuse to believe you win by doing that unless it's a generational quarterback. And I don't even believe you can overpay for those guys because they're generational quarterbacks. So the situation you're in, the best thing you could do is get back a ton of value for him. And you had multiple opportunities to do that, and you didn't. And that is the neglect. That is the mishandling of the situation. Because, look at what you have now. This offseason, you're going to have to franchise tag him.
Yeah, if you don't get a deal done.
Exactly. And even you can get the franchise, you put the tag on, then you have until whatever, July 7th or whatever the number
like
is to negotiate. You can still get it done after that. But players don't like being franchise tagged.
No.
So you're going to have to actively do something he doesn't like, then ask him to sign a deal that's team friendly after for 2.5 years you've told everyone in the league how much you value this guy. It's just a terrible place to negotiate from. It's walking into a house, right, and talking to a realtor, and you're walking around going, this is my dream kitchen. Oh, this is my dream backyard. Oh, my gosh, do you see how big the balcony is? This, oh, my goodness, the his and hers sinks, and, oh, I love this place so much. I would like to make a lowball offer. The realtor's going to look at you like, are you crazy? You just told me all the ways this house is perfect. We're not coming a dime off of asking price. Mm-hmm. And if you don't make an offer right now, tomorrow the price will go up because you just gave away all your leverage. The Panthers said, we value him more than 2 first-round picks. We value him more than anything those 5 teams have to offer. We traded away 2 of our 3 best players. He's the one we decided to keep. By the way, we would love it if you would sign a market value deal. And he's going to go, what are you talking about?
The market just went up.
You better sign me to a huge market value or over market value deal now. And if you wait till tomorrow, it'll be even more.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll go, we'll franchise tag you. We're not going to let you leave. Exactly. You love me too much to let me leave. Another $2 million a year just went up. It's just negotiating from a place of weakness. And the only reason you're in a place of weakness is because you used to be in a position of strength and you didn't use it.